For as long as I can remember, God has always been a part of my life. However, the past few years have been the hardest of my life. Looking back after the storm, I've realised that during this time I became stronger in my relationship with God. Mark 5:27-29 and 35-36 says, "She had heard about Jesus, so she came up behind him through the crowd and touched the fringe of his robe. For she thought to herself, 'If I can just touch his clothing, I will be healed.' Immediately the bleeding stopped, and she could feel that she had been healed. While he was still speaking to her, messengers arrived from Jairus' home with the message, 'Your daughter is dead. There's no use troubling the teacher now.' But Jesus ignored their comments and said to Jairus, 'Do not be afraid. Just trust me.'" In late 2010, at a youth church, we were handed a sheet of paper talking about the year that was 2010, and we were asked to reflect on the hardships that we had faced that year. I'd hardly experienced any troubles, but was not as close to God as I would have liked to have been. In the section, "The Year That Will Be," I was asked to write down what I wanted to achieve this next year. I simply answered, "Build on my relationship with God." The sheets were folded up and collected by the leaders. Time flew by, and I completely forgot about this event. I was back at school and life was great. In June 2011, I started feeling extremely thirsty. My ear was blocked and I had lost a lot of weight. I was taken to the doctors and was told it was just your average head cold. A week later at the school athletics carnival, I was the thirstiest I'd ever been in my life, and my throat was extremely dry, noticeable in my voice. My mum knew then that something wasn't quite right, and I was taken to the doctor the following day. He checked my blood sugar level and a staggering reading of 28 appeared. I was told to go straight to the hospital, and at that point I still had no idea what was going on. I stayed at the hospital for 6 of the hardest days of my life, and I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. I was gutted. My whole life was about to take a massive detour. Life had changed so much in one day, and I now needed 5 injections every single day for the rest of my life just to survive. The support I received from my family, friends and church family was incredible. It will never be forgotten. Towards the end of the week, I began to feel better about what was happening. I knew that I just had to get on with life, so I learnt what to do and began to adjust to my new reality. In a final youth church for 2011, we were handed back our sheets of paper from the year before. I became really emotional upon reading it, discovering that all the hardships I had faced that year helped me to go closer to God, which was my goal for 2011. In the hard times, I learned to fully rely on God. Diabetes is a constant balancing act, and some days are harder than others. I can't manage it on my own. My source of strength and hope is God, and He has revealed Himself to me in daily situations. My God is faithful, and He helped me to keep up with my schoolwork, despite all the time I had missed. As a person who likes to think they're in control, I've learnt what it feels like to have no control over what is to come, and it is in these times that you have no choice but to rely on God. The way my life detoured is not the way that I would have chosen if I had the choice. Yet I have a God that tells me, "Do not be afraid, just trust me." And this is the same God that offers you the hope, the freedom, the peace, and the healing that each and every one of you might need in here today, no matter what you are going through.